Experience isn't important in the playoffs. Well, at least not as much as mainstream media wants you to believe. I didn't think I needed to say this, but OKC isn't choking these must-win playoff games because they don't have experience. They know what they're supposed to do. They've done it before. And also, there's a thing called film where you watch what you're supposed to do, and a thing called practice where you get to execute on those things you learn from watching film regarding the things you're supposed to do and not do. This whole lack of experience narrative to me is more like a big cop-out. It's not about the lack of experience. It's more so about SGA's severe lack of awareness, a clutch gene, killer instinct, and ability to learn on the fly and read defenses like the previous all-time guards that came before him. There's also one other thing that I'm gonna get to at the end. You're gonna want to hear it. Let's discuss. But before we get into the meat and potatoes, I just want to say to the folk who do believe experience reigns supreme, hey man, did LeBron suffer from a lack of experience when he took a terrible Cleveland Cavaliers team to the finals and faced up against the greatest power forward of all time in Tim Duncan? Or what about when Dwayne Wade won a championship in only his third year in the NBA at the age of 24 years old? Did Wade suffer from a lack of experience then? Of course they didn't. You want to know why? It's because they won. A lot. Winning supersedes everything. When you start winning, all the noise begins to quiet down. And the good news is, you really only have to win once to kill a narrative. Well, unless you're Jason Tatum. But that's besides the point. Do you remember how we used to talk about Giannis before he won his first championship? There was a very real narrative going around that he had zero skill and that his success only came from his freak athleticism, and that because of his reliance on his own athleticism, he was less of a player than someone like James Harden. And then Giannis won. He won once. And after that win, even the most delusional of Harden fans wouldn't dare say some dumb shit like that again. What I'm trying to say is, the greatest players weren't always great. They just had a ton of great moments. And in SGA's case, he hasn't had any significant great moment in the postseason, and he's almost 27. He's on his second team, and he's playing out his 7th season in the NBA. And he choked horribly yesterday. And I don't ever want to hear him or Jason Tatum's name in the same sentence as Kobe fucking Bryant ever fucking again. And if you actually think you can compare the two, you don't know ball, you probably struggled in school from a young age, and I hope you get a hanging on your thumb. Now, let's talk about last night's game and SGA's disaster class. But first, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button below, because if you don't, I'm gonna personally make sure that Nico Harrison is your next GM. And trust me, nobody wants that. Russell Westbrook. Westbrook continues to play exceptionally well in these playoffs. Last night, he only played 22 minutes and he finished with 8 points, 4 assists, and 2 steals. Nikola Jokic had himself an inefficient game. He shot 8 of 25 and went 0 for 10 from the 3-point line. Usually, if Jokic is playing this bad, you would think the Nuggets don't stand a chance. But luckily for Denver fans, Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. was so special offensively last night. Actually, the Nuggets shot making as a team was spectacular. The only thing that was really killing the Nuggets was some pretty dumb turnovers. Even still, the feeling all game long was unless Jokic steps up and does something special, they probably won't go on to win this game. OKC is just a much deeper team. And you know, the Nuggets had their struggles this season, whereas OKC, they played well all year. The numbers have been telling us that they're this all-time great team and we shouldn't sleep on them and this and that. Also, they have SGA, who's Mr. Consistent, and I figured he would inevitably win them the game. And then that fourth quarter happened and SGA sucked. But J-Dub stepped up. J-Dub was awesome last night. There's always been some questions regarding whether or not he could really be a reliable second option along SGA, and I myself wasn't sure if he could. But last night, he made me believe. He was aggressively attacking the paint. He didn't run away from the ball in the fourth quarter like some other stars we've seen in these playoffs. Halliburton. And when his shot was struggling, he attacked the paint, highlighted his tight handles, and he got to the free throw line. I think there was a sequence in the second half where he scored 8 straight. The guy looked confident and he finished the game with 32 points as a result. But unfortunately for him, Aaron Gordon continued to take and make the shot of all shots. And thanks to his heroics for the 3rd time this postseason, he kept Denver afloat with the series-altering 3-pointer that took Denver to overtime. The Nuggets were hyped. As for Oklahoma, the entire team just looked terrified. They panicked in a real way. It was the definition of a deer in headlights. They didn't know what to do. And you could tell, just like in game 1, they didn't actually think it would ever get to that point. They figured at some point their closer in SGA would close out the game for them. So when he just kept on breaking and breaking and breaking, the team was visually flustered. Also, I'm not sure why, but they strayed away from the one thing that had been working for them, and that was Jalen Williams. J-Dub was killing this game. I wish they had trusted him in clutch time and let him take some of those shots SGA dished to Hartenstein. It just wasn't SGA's night. In that overtime, SGA gave up on his team and took 0 shot attempts. And I understand giving it to your star player in the clutch, but when he himself doesn't look like he believes in himself, and J-Dub has a super hot hand, you've got to reward the hot hand. This has been proven by science. The hot hand is a real thing, damn it. Meanwhile, the Nuggets looked comfortable. They were getting to their spots and hitting tough shots. They didn't look so freaked out. And the crazy thing is they actually did it. Denver beat OKC in Game 3 overtime 113 to 104 after having lost Game 2 by almost 50 points. You see, OKC isn't suffering from a lack of experience. They're suffering from a lack of a real point guard. Just because a guard can handle the ball and get assists doesn't mean they're necessarily a point guard. I'm sick of this new era of hoops where franchises just try to force their big-ass guards and forwards to play the point. I think it stems from everyone watching LeBron do it the last 20 years and seeing how effective he's been. But again, I can't believe I have to say this either, but dude, your franchise player is not LeBron. There's only one LeBron. There's only one Magic Johnson. There's only one Nikola Jokic. NBA media needs to have a conversation revolving around players playing their natural positions again. Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs are a team that have figured this out, and I think that's a big reason they've been so great all year long. It's also why the Cavs looked so good in Game 3 with Darius Garland as opposed to Game 2 without him. Obviously, Mitchell is gifted enough to do what Garland does, and we saw him do it in Game 2, but it's just a bad use of his skill set because he's more impactful when he's putting the apple in the damn basket. If you take a look at yesterday's fourth quarter, for example, SGA and J-Dub have all the shots made, whereas the Denver Nuggets, who have a real facilitator, had 4 different guys score in that fourth quarter. And that's why I believe they won. Anyways, that's what I think. But you let me know if you think that experience matters as much as everyone says it does down in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn those noties on. Matista signing out!